Welcome to Malden. Here we are standing right outside of Malden Square, which is also known as Converse Square. Elisha Slade Converse was born in Needham, Massachusetts on July 28, 1820, and he was born into poverty. From the age of 16, he learned the trade of clothier, and instead of going to school, he worked in a factory. At 19, he began his own business in the village of Thompson and continued in it until he was 24 years old. Later in his life, he moved to Malden, where he did a lot more than just live in Malden. Elisha Converse was an active politician in Malden. He was elected as a state representative in 1879 and as a state senator from 1880 to 1881. In 1882, he was elected as the first mayor for the city of Malden.
Among Converse's philanthropic deeds were the establishment and construction of Malden Hospital, Malden City Hall, Malden Public Library, Malden YMCA, and Malden Historical Society.
In 1853, Converse opened the Boston Rubber Shoe Company in Malden that employed 3,500 people and became one of the largest rubber manufacturers in the USA. In 1875, his factory was severely damaged by fire and caused 1,500 people to be unemployed. However, he managed to rebuild the factory within a few months and spent $25,000 to pay the workers while they were out of work. He also went to the workers' house to figure out what they need and actually help them to get what they need. The business was so prosperous they expanded to Melrose and is now an apartment called Jackpot. Being the first person in his family to open shoes company, he inspired his cousin Marcus M. Converse to create the well-known shoe brand, Converse.
In 1893, the Foundry Pond was created because of the burning of the shoe company. Converse wanted to make sure that if there was another fire, he would have another water source nearby. He bought this swampy land and created a man-made pond that people enjoyed walking through, although it was his. He noticed that the people enjoyed walking by the pond and spending time by it, so he and the second mayor of Malden gave it to be a park as long as the city maintained the dam so that he could always have it in case of another fire nearby. He also participated in the creation of the Malden City water supply system and reservoir. In 1863, Elisha Converse's son, Frank Converse, was killed in America's first armed robbery, which was in Malden. Frank was only 17 years old. When he was killed, at first they did not know who the murderer was. Friends of Converse formed a secret circle to try and find the murderer. They instantly became suspicious of Edward Green because he showed no feelings toward the murder and he paid part of his debt using the money from the Malden Bank. They stalked him and with evidence, they arrested him. On the day of the robbery, Edward was deeply in debt and he went into Malden Bank and noticed Frank was the only bank teller on duty. He went back to his house because he thought he could rob the bank to pay his debt. When he came back, he shot Frank point blank in the head. Merrill, who was Frank's co-worker, got behind the counter and found Frank lying on the floor with blood coming out of his head, struggling to breathe. Edward Green confessed to the murder and was sentenced to death.
20 years later, Elisha Converse and Mary Converse built the memorial building in memory of Frank. Converse donated money for its constructions and artwork for its decoration. This building, when completed, was given to trustees of the Malden Public Library for the benefits of the inhabitants of the city of Malden. In October 1885, Malden Public Library was opened in the Converse Memorial Building. Upon Converse's death, he donated $500,000 to Malden Library for the purchase of art. The Malden Historical Society was built in 1955 and it was where the art and history of Malden was held. It created a sense of community in the neighborhoods where people live and work. The increased sense of community led to more personal involvement and more cultural, educational, and social activities, which will create a better community and a better place for Malden citizens to live. Malden YMCA was built by Converse in 1881. It's a non-profit organization for community service, youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. It operates in downtown Malden with the community outreach sites in Malden and Medford. Today, it provides services to over 10,000 individuals each year and it serves residents of all ages. Converse owned pine banks and donated all 107.5 acres of land to the city of Malden. Pine Banks has several large picnic areas, a pond, playgrounds, and several hiking trails in the woods.
Converse tried to improve the healthcare system in Malden. He provided monetary and land donations for the construction of the Malden Hospital. In 1892, 2 years after its incorporation, the Malden Hospital admitted its first patients. For many years, Converse served as its president. He and his family donated money and land for the maternity hospital and the School of Nursing. He provided basic education and proper health care for his employees, and he also founded the Malden Home for Aged Persons and Day Nursery. Converse put in a lot of effort to improve the quality of life for Malden citizens, and his effort laid the foundation for Malden. Without Elisha Slade Converse, we wouldn't have been able to receive many of the services that we have now. So every citizen of Malden should learn and remember his story. Elisha Converse had and still has an incredible impact on our city that will never be forgotten.